Hi everybody and welcome to a Grimdark Future Battle Report. Blood Brothers and Human Defense Force versus Dark Elf Raiders. And this is my first battle report with the 3rd edition of the rules. And not only the 3rd edition, but also the newly updated 3.1 version of the rules and the army books. Brother Sergeant Elias has recovered from his injury. He is eager to prove himself in battle once again, and a routine mission in a chemical production facility could be just the right place to start. Once again, he's joined by squads of Blood Brothers and Human Defense Force, but High Command has also sent a high-ranking Master Brother with casting abilities. Elias is not sure why. Intel suspected lesser alien resistance, but the force approaching does not look like that at all. A look to the sky reveals winged creatures ready to attack, but luckily some Blood Brothers also have wings. Sergeant Elias is a Master Blood Brother. He's a hero with a tough value of 3, he's furious, he's a veteran, and he is armed with energy sword and Master Plasma Pistol. He's joined to a unit of Blood Assault Brothers, all armed with heavy pistols, except for one of them, who's armed with a flamer. 5 Human Defense Force Stormtroopers with the Strider ability, armed with a variety of weapons: heavy rifle, a grenade launcher, 2 plasma rifles, and a heavy pistol and energy sword. Vincenzo is a Blood Master Librarian. He is fearless, tough value of 3, furious, and he has the Caster 3 ability. He is armed with a Master Heavy Pistol. And in Ambush Reserve, 5 Blood Guard Brothers. Besides Ambush, they have the Flying and Furious ability. They are armed with Assault Pistols and Energy Swords. Leading the Dark Elf Raiders is a Dark Lord. He is tough, he's a true raider, and he is pain-fueled, and that gives him and his unit regeneration. He is armed with Elite Barb Pistol and Energy Sword. He's joined with a unit of warriors, all armed with barb rifles, except for one of them who has a blast rifle. All of them are true raiders. Then we have 5 Gene Warriors with 3 dual close combat weapons, 1 barb pistol, 1 arcane rifle, and 1 leech claw. All of them have regeneration. A second unit of Dark Elf Warriors. They are all true raiders. 4 of them are armed with barb rifles and 1 with barb pistol and energy sword. The Dark Elves have also brought 3 Crow Swarms. They are flying and they have 3 swarm attacks. All of them have a tough value of 3. Finally, in Ambush Reserve, 5 Winged Warriors. They are flying, they are armed with barb carbines, except for one of them armed with a blast rifle. And all the Dark Elves, except the Gene Warriors, are fast. There are 4 objectives on the chemical facility outside the deployment zones. And the Blood Brothers have deployed at the right edge of the chemical complex, the Dark Elves on the left side. And each of the 4 objectives will earn 1 victory point to whoever controls it at the end of round 4. Both armies have identical side missions: Conserve, Ground War, and Headhunter, and each of them will earn 1 victory point to whoever completes the side missions. Before the battle begins, let's roll off. Purple dice for the Dark Elves and red dice for the Blood Brothers and Human Defense Force. And Sergeant Elias and his forces will activate first. Let's go to round number 1. First, the Librarian will get 3 magic tokens, one of the new rules introduced in the 3rd edition. And the first unit to activate is the Human Defense Force squad. They will rush forward and they will be able to pass the machine in the complex and be more or less hidden behind the crates. Then the Gene Warriors will move, and they will also rush forward, so they cannot shoot after their rush action, but they will be in cover. The Caster Librarian will move forward and he will try to cast a spell, the spell Quickness, on his friendly squad of HDF soldiers, and that one will cost him 2 and not 1 as shown here, but that will be fixed in the next round. All spellcasters will have to roll 4 to succeed, so he failed. Next up, the regular unit of Dark Elf warriors will move forward. They are not close enough to capture the objective, but 3 of them have line of sight to the human defense force, so they will fire their barb rifles, and they will hit with 3, not 4, because they are true raiders. But never mind, all 2s and no one is hit. Sergeant Elias and his squad of Blood Assault brothers will rush forward, and they will be able to reach the objective, and they will control it. The Dark Lord and his warriors will do more or less the same. They are fast and they can rush up to 16 inches, but they will stop here close to objective 3 and they will control it. Next up, the crow swarms, and they will fly over the buildings. They are not hindered by any obstacles, so they will fly to this position on the edge of the battlefield. And that was the last activation of round number 1. Both forces have taken control over one objective. And so far, they have not been able to really shoot at each other. At least they have not hit anything. I think that will change in round number 2. Both sides have ambush units, so they will roll off to see who will deploy first. And again, the Blood Brothers and Defense Force soldiers will deploy first. And that means the Blood Guard brothers will have to position themselves at least 9 inches away from the closest enemy unit. And that is in the left back corner of the battlefield. The Winged Warriors will also deploy deep behind enemy lines in the upper right corner. And Sergeant Elias and his forces finished first in the previous round, so they will also activate first. The caster will get 3 more tokens, but he has only 1 left from the previous round, so he has 4 now. The Blood Guard brothers who deployed in ambush will activate first, and they will charge the unit of warriors and the Dark Lord in the back. They will hit with their energy swords on a roll of 3, and if they roll 6, they are furious and they will be doubled. So first let's move the attacks that did not hit. Then we have the regular hits, and then we have 3 6s here, and they will be doubled. Besides that, they are also rending, but that only counts for the original 6s. So 3 rending hits and 8 AP1 hits. So they will have to defend with rolls of 6 to block the rending hits. And one of them will be saved. And they will actually also have to roll 6s for the regular hits. And, well, they defend a few of the hits, but that still does not look good. So now the Dark Elves have 8 hits to deal with, but they have regeneration. The rending hits will make it more difficult for them to regenerate. They will need 6s to regenerate those hits, and they will not regenerate any of them. And then the remaining non-rending hits, they will regenerate on a roll of 5 or 6. And these are some of the rule changes from the 2nd to the 3rd edition. Rending is different, poison is different, furious, impact, and several other rules. In the end, the entire squad of warriors will be completely wiped out, and the Dark Lord will take 2 hits. But he will still be standing at the end of the day, and that means he can fight back. And he will also swing his energy sword twice. He will hit with a roll of 2, and he also has the rending ability on the sword. So 1 rending hit, and they will need 6s to block that one. So 1 Blood Guard brother will be decapitated, and then a regular hit, it's AP1. They will defend with a roll of 4. And here we go. No, that one also failed, so another one will be killed. So the Dark Lord have dealt 2 hits. He will still lose the battle though, so in the end his squad is below half strength, and that means he will have to pass a morale test. And with a roll of 5, he is good. His entire squad was wiped out, but he will stay. And now the winged warriors will move 8 inches to the top of this building. And on the top, they will have line of sight to Sergeant Elias and his squad, and they will fire their barb carbines, 8 shots hitting on 4s. So they will hit with 5 of them. And they are poisonous, so unmodified defense rolls of 6 will have to be re-rolled, and poison will also affect regeneration, but never mind in this case, none of the Blood Brothers have the regeneration ability. And then finally 2 shots with a blast rifle, and 1 hit, and it's AP 4. So that one will take a 6 to block. And no. So for now, at least 1 Blood Brother will be hit. And the rest of the hits they will block with a roll of 3, so this one is good, but they cannot roll 6s because of the poison ability, and they will fail another 2 hits and block 3. That is still a fatal attack though. 3 Blood Assault Brothers will be shot down, and that will take Sergeant Elias and his unit down to half strength. They will have to pass a morale test, otherwise they will be shaken. And morale test is also a bit different in the 3rd edition. They have a quality of 3, so they will pass, but they are fearless, and fearless is changed. They would have a second chance to roll 4 or more if they had missed the test. Now the caster will move forward. He has 4 magic tokens at his disposal, and he will cast the spell Rage Burst. That will cost him 3, but he will add 1 more, and that will raise his chance of success. He will now need a roll of 3 instead of a roll of 4. So let's see if he can roll 3 and have a successful Rage Burst. And he is good. So the enemy unit he target will take 6 AP2 hits from his spell. So they will have to block with 6s, and 1 of them is blocked. And let's see, the one behind the crate, it's also a failed defense roll. They will take 5 hits, and the rage will eliminate the entire squad. But now the spellcaster have exposed himself, and the unit of Gene Warriors will charge. They have 8 close combat attacks, and they will hit on a roll of 4. And they do not have any AP or special abilities, and they will hit with a total of 4. And then the Leech Claw, also 2 attacks hitting on a 4, but it's AP 1 and Rending. But the Claw attack will fail, so 4 hits, and that's of course way too much for the spellcaster unless he can block them. And he has a defense of 3. I think he can do that. Oh, no, he will block 1, but he will fail 3. He must have used all his energy on the spell, and 3 hits is too much. He will go down and be killed. The Gene Warriors have avenged the Raider brothers, and they are also close enough to capture the objective. The stormtroopers immediately react. They advance to the corner of this ruined bunker, and from this position they have a clear line of sight to the crow swarms. So they will ready their weapons and fire. First, heavy rifle and pistol shots. They will both hit with a roll of 4, and they are AP 1. So one of them is good. Then we have 2 plasma rifles, and one of them will hit as well. They are AP 4, and finally a grenade launcher. That one will fail. So only 2 hits. The crows have a weak defense of 5, so they will need 6s to block both hits, no matter if it's a plasma or a heavy rifle hit. And they will miss both of them. So 1 crow swarm will take 2 wounds. And the wounded crows will now fly in for the attack. They will fly over the bunker and charge the HDF with their swarm attacks. They will hit with a roll of 5, and they have the rending ability. So 1 regular hit only and 1 rending hit. That looks like the HDF will be able to survive. Let's see, they will need a 6 to block the rending hit, and that one is shaken off like nothing. And what about the other? That will take a roll of 4. Sadly, 1 stormtrooper will be clawed to death by the crows. But it's not over yet. Of course, they will fight back with close combat attacks first, 3 of them, and they will hit on 4s, and then an energy sword attack with 2 chances to hit, and 1 of them is good, and rending. So the crows must come up with 6s, and they will not block the rending hit, and then they will have to roll 5 to block the regular hits, and they will also fail those 2 hits. They will take 3 hits, so 1 crow swarm will be killed, and another one will take 2 wounds. They are not down to half strength yet, but they lost the battle. So they will have to pass a morale test. They will need a 5. And no, the crows have a really bad morale. So they will be shaken and they will step or fly back. This one went to the HDF. The bad memories from his last battle will definitely be in Sergeant Elias' mind, but he will still move forward, and along with his 2 surviving assault brothers, he will target the winged warriors. So first, 2 pistol shots, and in this case I forgot that Sergeant Elias was armed with a plasma pistol with 2 shots, so he only fired 1. And then the flamer, and the flamer has the new rule, reliable. It will hit on a 2, and then it will have the blast ability. So 4 shots totally. And the winged warriors, of course, have to defend. They will need 5s to block. And they will miss all 3 flamer hits. And then they will have to block the heavy pistol hits. And they are forced to roll 6s because of the AP1, and they will fail the 2 pistol shots, 5 attacks, 5 hits, and the winged warriors are history. The Dark Lord is concerned. He will advance to the other side of the crate. He has already fought, so instead he will fire his elite barb pistol, and he will hit on a 2. And he will hit with both his attacks. And they are poisonous. They have AP nothing, so the guard brothers will have to roll, and 1 of them will fail, and the other shot is good. So 1 more guard brother will be shot down. And now the unit is below half strength. So they will pass a +3 morale test. And they are good. A dramatic second round is over. The human defense force fight crows at the bottom of the battlefield. The Gene warriors took out the spellcaster, and Sergeant Elias has avenged his unit by wiping out the winged warriors. And then the Dark Lord alone tries to eliminate 2 Blood Guard brothers. Let's go to the 3rd round. Again, Elias and his troops will activate first. And Elias and the remaining flamer and the remaining heavy pistol Blood Brother will advance, and they will shoot at the Gene warriors. And they are also close enough to contest the objective. So first, the regular pistol will shoot, and that one will miss. And then Sergeant Elias, and this time I remember his plasma pistol will be able to fire twice. And he will hit with both his attacks. He is a veteran after all. And then finally the flamer with the reliable rule will hit on a 2. So that one will have the blast ability, and it will be multiplied with 3. Now the Gene warriors must see if they can get out of this, and they will begin with 6s to block the plasma pistol shots. And, well, they will block 1 of them. And then the flamer hits, and they will block those with 5+. And really bad defense roll, and they also have a very light armor. So that's natural, of course, but they can regenerate with a roll of 5 or 6. So out of the 4 hits, they will regenerate 1 of them. So 3 Gene Warriors will be taken down by Elias. And that takes them below half strength. They have a quality of 4. They must pass, otherwise they will be shaken. And that's exactly what they are. And shaken units count as being fatigued, and they will automatically fail morale tests. And of course they cannot do anything else but get out of that shaken condition. Once again, the Dark Lord fires his pistol, and he also hits with a 2 because he is a true raider. So again, his poisonous pistol will hit the guard brothers. And they will avoid one of the hits. The other one will take down another guard. So the remaining one will once again have to deal with a morale test. And again, he is eager to stay in the fight. At the other end of the battlefield, the HDF will try to get rid of those annoying birds once and for all. They charge into the crows. 3 close combat attacks, and they hit on a roll of 4. They will have 2 hits, and then the energy sword, also 2 attacks. And one of them will hit, and that will be a rending hit. So the crows must block the rending hits first. No, they will actually start with the regular hits. So they will need 5s. And one of them will be blocked. And then the rending hit. A roll of 6 is needed. And that's a roll of 5. So in the end, the crows will take 2 wounds. And that will take out the second crow swarm. And the third and final one will take 1 wound. But they are shaken, and shaken units will automatically fail morale tests. And when they are below half strength, they will be forced to make a morale test. They still have a chance to fight back though, but they will need 6s because they count as being fatigued. 3 attacks, and the shaken and tired crow swarm will miss the attacks, and that means that they lose the battle and they lose all hope and leave. And the stormtrooper squad is victorious, and they will consolidate and move forward. The Gene Warriors activate, and they can do nothing but get out of their shaken condition. And now, the remaining Blood God brother will charge the Dark Lord. He's armed with an energy sword. He has 2 attacks, and he will hit on a roll of 3, and he is furious. So if he rolls 6s, something will happen. Well, he doesn't, but he hits with 2 attacks, and it's AP 1. So the Dark Lord is forced to roll 5s to block. And in the beginning, he will miss his defense rolls, but he has regeneration. And he will also fail those. He will be taken out finally by the Blood Guard brother, and he will also, by doing so, capture the objective. After the 3rd round, Objective 1 is not yet controlled by anybody. Both forces contest Objective 2, and the Blood Brothers control Objective 3 and Objective 4. Both sides have also completed the Headhunter side mission by taking out the most expensive hero. Let's go to the 4th and final round. And this time the Dark Elf Raiders finished first, and they will activate first, and the Gene Warriors are the only ones left to do something, and they will charge Sergeant Elias and his squad. And first 2 close combat attacks, both of them failed. Now the claw, and this time the claw will hit. 2 hits. They are not rending, but they are AP 1. The Blood Assault brothers must roll 4 to block the claw. And they will fail them both. The 2 remaining Assault brothers from Sergeant Elias' squad will be taken out by the Gene Warriors. Sergeant Elias is the only one to fight back, and he will do so with his energy sword. He will hit on a 2, and we will reroll that one. he will hit with both his attacks. And the energy sword is AP1, so that will be tough for the Gene Warriors to block. And they will fail both defense rolls, but they can regenerate. And one of them will regenerate. So one is chopped to pieces by Elias, but the other one stands strong. So the Gene Warriors have won the battle. Sergeant Elias must face a morale test. He has a quality of 3, but he is fearless, so he has a second chance that was not necessary. With a roll of 6, he is almost arrogant in his way of saying, I'm not going anywhere. But Objective 2 is still contested by both, and the ground war site mission is not yet completed. Maybe the Human Defense Force can do something about that. They will charge into the Gene Warrior. And first, with their close combat attacks, they will hit with 2 of them, and then Energy Sword. And that one will hit with 1 attack, and that will be Rending. So the Rending hit first, and it's not blocked, and then the regular hits, and one of them is blocked. And now the Gene Warrior must rely on regeneration, and the Rending hit will give a -1 modifier to the regeneration roll, so instead of 5 or 6, it must be a 6. And he was not able to do that. It's all over. He falls as the last Dark Elf Raider on the board, and the final activation will be the God Brother, who will capture Objective 1. And that will be a major victory for Sergeant Elias. They captured all objectives and they completed all side missions. They win with 7 victory points. Was there ever any doubt that Sergeant Elias would shake off his injury, rise to the occasion, and come back stronger than before? Well, not for me. I hope you enjoyed this battle report with the updated 3rd edition rules. If you did, please like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and I hope you'll join me for future Batreps.